So let's start talking about some of these market pressures, okay, and where AR can help. So this has been ongoing for a long time. Industrial markets are facing greater pressure. One of the big things that's been identified for many years has been the growing worker skills gap. We've got a very experienced workforce that is looking to retire, and how do we replace them quickly and effectively? We've got increasing product and process complexity. The customer demands around, more variability in products means more things, more situations we have to deal with, more different configurations and the processes around that. And then also the evolving customer demands. So not only around the products themselves and the variability inside that, but also the expectation of, immediacy for help. What's going to, who's going to help them best. If you can't, then they'll find someone else who will. Okay. So these are pressures that have been around for a long time and growing. And then, of course, we had the last year and a half to 2 years since COVID came onto the scene, and that's really increased a lot of that. Okay, so things around in manufacturing, there's been dramatic shifts in demand for some companies. That's been a huge increase, particularly in health products and the like. Others, it's been a big decrease in demand. Service has been a big problem. Okay, how do we help to solve customer service requirements when we can't go and visit them? Okay, we've got plenty of customers here who have products they send all around the world. They've got their service team they send around the world, which is very difficult to do now, or even interstate. Sometimes even more than 5 kilometers from your home if you're in Melbourne like me. Okay, so lots of problems around how do we handle service requests? How do we train people? Okay, so the old days of chucking everybody together in a room, that's really not as easy to do now. Okay, so there's a much greater need to train people remotely and effectively. And then from the sales and marketing side, okay, we've still got these increasing pressures. How do we get out there and show the customers our products, to explain them to them when we can't go to trade shows, we can't go and meet them face to face? What can we do to help with that? So one of the big things is that the pandemic has been around frontline workers. Okay, so how do they, essential workers who are out there in the field who have to do their work. Okay, and globally, about 75% of workers are on the front line. So these are people who can't do their jobs remotely, can't sit at a desk in front of a computer all day, like myself. Okay, so they can't easily transition to using Teams and other computer-based systems. They still need to be there out there in the field. Okay, so how do they effectively harness this transition that's been happening over the last number of years to working digitally? So the big thing, and one of the big problems is that the traditional work and instruction methods, they really fall short. Okay, so those old methods of, like I said before, getting everyone to a room together, maybe shadowing someone along, an expert around, walking along with them. Okay, long costly sales cycles. How do we do training? These traditional methods of doing things have really been shown to be falling short in the current climate. So what AR does is it brings this digital technology to the front line. So instead of your traditional methods of here's a book, here's a manual that you look at, either printed or maybe in a PDF format, we can use augmented reality to help explain and show that product in context with a lot more ease of use to understand. Okay, so what is augmented reality? So as shown here, okay, it's superimposing computer graphics onto a live view of the world, so also called AR. Okay, so here you can see this screenshot. We've got a lady wearing a Microsoft HoloLens, and so she's seeing the real world around her, and floating in front of her is a 3D globe that she can interact with to understand what's going on there. Okay, so AR is really a technology that can help connect these frontline workers with that critical information. Okay, so here we've got this gentleman looking at a piece of equipment, and there's a bunch of information presented in AR to him. Okay, so that can help to guide users through a task. It could be used to make sure they're seeing the right safety information to make sure they're working safely and in compliance. We can actually allow AR to help interact with the system in context, okay, without needing a HMI, without needing to go and plug something into it. And it can also help visualize critical information. Okay, So really all of those things that AR lets us do by overlaying that digital information in the real world, that is great for helping connect those frontline people with the information they need to see. Okay. So, some of the key applications of AR that we want to talk about today. Okay. So things like remote assistance and collaboration. How do we help work with somebody who's interstate or overseas that we can't get to? Okay. How do we create knowledge-based AR work instructions? We can't now have people shadowing our expert around for 6 months. How do we capture that knowledge and scale that out to the rest of the organization? We've got all this CAD data that we've used to build our products. How can we use that CAD data to help us build work instructions that people can see in context in the field? How can we display other information, 3D, such as CAD or IoT information, to help people understand and work with something in context? Or how do we build AR product visualizations and demonstrations to show customers who we can't go and travel and see any? So these are things that AR lets us do.